Hey everybody out there in the YouTube universe, this is Mr. Movie, and in today's video we're going to be doing something that I've never done before. It's not going to be a movie review, and it's not going to be a top 5 list of movies in my collection by actor or director. Today is going to be the top 3 Japanese animation movies that are in my collection. I kept it to 3 because I wanted to get my very favorite Japanese animation movies, and I wanted to have them all be different genres and styles inside the Japanese animation arena. I love Japanese animation movies. I know there's a lot of classic ones that I kept off the list that I love, but I kept it to these 3 because they are my top of the top favorite. So, starting right at the beginning, we're gonna have number 3, and that is Vampire Hunter D. I love Vampire Hunter D because it is a cool take on the whole vampire mythos. I mean, I just did a top 5 vampires movie in my collection. This didn't make it because he fights all different types of creatures in this. He's been around for hundreds of years, so he's kind of mastered how to fight all different types of creatures. And he has to in this because what it is basically a familiar trope that you've seen before. A girl gets bitten by a master vampire. He's 10,000 years old. In order to free her, and before she turns, you have to kill the main vampire, who's the main bad guy in this movie. And she hires Vampire Hunter D to do it. And what's really cool about this, I like the whole aesthetic of it. It's very dark, the animation, the way it looks, but also it's in a dystopian future, but it feels like a Western kind. He's got the big hat and the long cloak, and you know what I mean. And they ride mechanical horses and have laser guns and all kind of. He has a sword that's like the size of his body, and inside of his hand he has a symbiote that's alive and has all kinds of powers and can do all kinds of crazy stuff. And he needs all that because he's got to fight all of the henchmen of this main vampire and all of the different creatures and monsters that it controls in his castle. And it's a really, it's a basic story. Good guy has to free the girl and defeat the big bad guy, but he has to go through a whole army of people to do it, or creatures in this case. And the animation's really cool. The fight scenes are great. And it's a cool story. I mean, it's basic, but it's really cool. And the music goes with it perfectly. It really sets the scene and the moods for each scene. I really love Vampire Hunter D. I suggest it highly, and that's why it's number 3 on my list. Coming in at number 2, you might want to have the children leave for this one because it's a little much, but not for me. Number 2, Legend of the Overfiend. Now, this movie is completely out of hand. I will start off by saying that. If you're squeamish or offended easily, I suggest you not watch this movie. If you aren't, though, this movie is amazing. It's so crazy and offensive and disgusting and sick and just twisted that it's great. There's a lot of sex in this movie, but it's not hentai. Japanese hentai is animated porn. That's not what this is, although there is a lot of sex in it. But that plays into the story because a baby has to be born for a reason and whatever. But everything is turned up to 1,000, and it's over the top with how much, sex and blood and guts and stuff is in it. But if you can put that to the side, there's a great story. There's amazing action. They got, it's so colorful, and that's another thing. With all 3 of these movies, they hold up till today, even though they're older movies, and they're better than anything that's come out since. So don't give me any of these new ones. But yeah, as you know, I do older movies anyway. But the action, amazing. Me and my friends quote this movie all the time to this day because there's so many great quotable lines. But I mean, the sexual stuff, it's out of hand. I'll be honest. I mean, it's monsters with tentacles having sex with cheerleaders till they explode. I mean, okay, you get the picture. But that aside, the whole, the different powers, the mythology of because there's three different worlds. There's the world of man, the world of beasts, and the world of gods. And there's this main god that has to come back and balance everything, and you think it's one person and you think it's somebody else, and they all end up having powers and fighting each other. It's just complete and utter Japanese animation madness, and I love it from beginning to end. Completely crazy, and you just can't get enough of it if you can take the crazier elements of it. I love it, and that's why it's number 2 on my list. Legend of the Overfiend. Number 1, greatest of all time, hands down, Ninja Scroll. I mean, if you like kung fu, samurais, ninjas, swords, all of that, this is for you. If you like Japanese animation, you combine the two, you get, and think about the greatest thing that could possibly be done, you get this. It's such a cool story. You got the main character, the lone swordsman, and he's got to fight, of course. He's got to get to the big bad like everything else, and also, go through a host of people who work for the big bad. But what's really cool about this is each character, which is a lot, that he encounters, they have their own backstory, their own look, their own abilities that he has to deal with. It's very unique, the way that each character, what they can do, the powers they have, their abilities. It's very unique, each one, and he has to deal with them in different ways. There's a little sex in this too. I mean, it's Japanese animation. What would it be without some sex? But not overbearing and nothing like the other one at all. The two different worlds. This one you can show the kids. It is bloody, obviously, because it's kung fu and ninjas and all that kind of thing. But typical good versus evil tale, but with all the cool stuff that Japanese animation has to offer. And it just, to this day, just looks exquisite. The art is just amazing. It flows. The fight scenes are just top notch. Can't beat it. Number 1 all time in my collection, Ninja Scroll for Japanese animation movies. That being said, if you like Japanese animation movies and you have different ones, hey, tell me in the comments. Get a discussion going. If you like this video or you dig my other content, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, because I always make new videos and you'll get alerted right away, so you can check them out. And if you like them, hit the like. And if you have friends who like Japanese animation, or you have other people who are crazy about movies like I am, share it with them, spread the word. I'd appreciate it. That being said, this is Mr. Movie signing off, and I will see you again next time at the Flicks.